"Don't bow to me," the human said. Then she told him what it meant in her culture. The docking bay of Port Helix throbbed with engine heat and the ozone snap of arriving freighters. Jonah Hale, field engineer, stepped off the cargo ramp with a toolbox in one hand and a nervous chuckle lodged in his throat. He'd never been to the Kethari marches. He'd certainly never had anyone bow to him. The Kethari woman bent low, one knee to the deck, chin raised, arms crossed to bare the pale insides of her forearms. Around them, loaders paused, eyes catching the gesture like fishermen snagging a bright lure. "Don't bow to me," Jonah blurted. "Please." She rose fluidly. Her eyes were a blue-black sheen like polished obsidian. "I am Rhyse of Clan Seer. You were named as the repairer sent by the guild. The bow is to bind protection." "Protection." Jonah shifted his toolbox from sweaty palm to sweaty palm. "I'm just here to fix the condenser array." "Exactly why you will need it," Rhyse said. "Machines anger easily on our world." Port Helix was less a city and more a web pinned between cliffs. Glassed walkways spanning chasms, markets hanging like lanterns over roaring storm rivers, and humming turbines capturing energy from the constant winds. The malfunctioning condenser lived beneath it all, in a cavern drilled from basalt. Jonah followed Rhyse through a crowd that gave her space like tied lips around a rock. "About the bow," he said as they took a lift down. "Where I'm from, bowing, its subservience, feels wrong." Rhyse considered him. "Among the Kethari, a bow with raised chin means the opposite. It says, if harm seeks you, it must strike me first. It is not worship. It is promise." Jonah swallowed. "That's a lot." "It is also voluntary," she added softly. "You may refuse it by turning away before the vow is spoken." "You did not." "I didn't know," Jonah said, throat tight. "I'm sorry." Rhyse's mouth curved. "Ignorance is not guilt. In our law, it is invitation to teach." The condenser array was a rib cage of ceramic spines channeling heat into coils that wept with condensation. The failure was obvious even to the untrained eye. Scored carbon, blistered wiring, a coolant loop that had eaten its own seals. Jonah's hands steadied once he popped the panel. Wires, relays, voltages. A language he spoke better than any diplomacy. As he worked, Rhyse stood near the tunnel mouth, watching the flow of people and the flicker of warning lights. More than once, her hand flashed to a curved blade at her hip, the motion so fast it left a silver thread in the air. Twice she did not draw, and twice Jonah's heartbeat took a while to climb down his throat. "You don't have to guard me," he said, crouched in a pool of tools. "I bowed," she answered. "I would be a fool twice if I did not act once." Twice. First for bowing without asking. Second for guarding without doing. She glanced over her shoulder, then back to the tunnel. "Your humans talk in circles that still find their way." He grinned despite himself. "We try." He was splicing the final line when three shadows detached from the tunnel and became people with hard faces and softer morals. Their leader had a badge from the Port Authority angled like a half-told lie. "Work stoppage in Sector D," he announced. "Union says you owe us a toll." "I'm contracted by the guild," Jonah said. Union rates were settled. Rates change. Rhyse stepped between Jonah and the men, posture long and easy. "Do not tax what you cannot repair," she said. The leader's gaze skated over her. "Clan business. Then we're owed a different kind of toll." His meaning snagged against the air like burrs. Jonah stood too fast, banging his head on the panel. Pain flared. He tried to make his voice calm. "We've got work to finish. Let us go." The men laughed and moved forward. Rhyse bowed again, slow as a sunrise, chin high. The dockhands nearby froze. The leader's amusement curdled. You invoke a bloodfront for a human. I invoke seer, Rhyse said, and her blade came out with a sound like a coin biting glass. Say what you will of me, but you will not test my vow today. The men drew back, muttered curses, and bled away into the tunnel, looking over their shoulders as if the shadows themselves might tell on them. The dockhands went back to pretending to work. Jonah exhaled only when his knees remembered how. You didn't have to do that, he said, voice shaking. I told you what the bow means, she replied. The condenser hummed back to life, breath deepening until the LEDs rolled from angry red to patient green. Rhyse watched Jonah coil his tools, then led him above ground where evening had peeled open the sky. Storm clouds massed over the chasm, staining the air a bruised violet. The wind smelled like wet stone and charged copper. I filed a challenge, Rhyse said as they walked toward the cliff bridges. The leader in the tunnel. He has used his badge to prey. Tomorrow there will be a hearing. I don't want you getting in trouble because of me. Her look was patient and flinty both. It is not because of you. It is because of us. The bow made us a we. That is its shape. They reached a span of glass stretching over a depth that made Jonah's stomach grip. In the center, Rhyse stopped and pressed her palm to the railing. There is something else. In my culture, the one who received the bow can end it cleanly. Or return it. Return it. You bowed to me, and then the responsibility is shared. It is not double weight. It is different weight. He stared down into the throat of the gorge. Wind pulled at his jacket, teasing the seams. The idea of bowing still scraped some old human pride the wrong way. But pride wasn't the only thing in him. He thought of her blade silvering the air. He thought of how her voice had wrapped him like a shield. If I bow wrong, will I insult everyone you've ever met? He asked. Her laugh startled the birds nesting under the bridge. If you bow wrong, I will tease you privately for years. Jonah stepped back from the railing, found space on the glass where reflection laid them side by side. The human and the Kethari, the engineer and the blade bearer. He bent one knee. He lifted his chin. He crossed his arms, exposing soft wrist skin to the storm. It felt like offering his pulse to the lightning. The world hushed for a heartbeat. Jonah, hail, Rhyse said quietly. I witness. He stood, breath punching out, and the wind moved differently around them, less like a thing that wanted and more like a thing that welcomed. Now what? He asked. Now, she said, we see through the hearing. We fix the next broken thing. We eat the night market's ash cakes. And if harm seeks you, it must pass through me and you both. Us, he echoed. Lightning stitched the far rim of the gorge. Thunder walked a slow circle. Rhyse tilted her head, considering the storm and the man who had just learned a new shape for the word we. There is a phrase in my language, she said. Severin all. The day the bridge learns the wind. It means a bond that holds without breaking, even while it moves. Jonah smiled, not the nervous chuckle from the docking bay, but something steadier. Teach me to say it right. She did, and he practiced until his mouth found the angle of the vowel and the cadence of the consonants, until the strange words felt less like foreign coins and more like keys. Then they walked into the thickening dark, shoulder to shoulder, the vow between them not a chain but a path.